We're going to work with dividing fractions, and the good news is we already know how to do 90% of the work. And the reason for that is that all we have to do, we're going to start off with a note. When we divide by a fraction, we just multiply by the reciprocal. That's a word that if you don't know what it means, I will explain it, but it's very important. By the reciprocal of the second number. Very important. It's just a multiplication problem. That's why I said you already know how to do 90% of it. So what do I mean by the reciprocal? If I had 3/7, let's just say, then the reciprocal, you just flip it, is 7/3. Okay? When we say reciprocal, it just means flip the fraction. Okay? So what would the reciprocal of 2/3 be? 3/2. Now, where it gets more complicated is when we have a mixed number. What would the reciprocal of a mixed number be? Like 3 1/5. What would the reciprocal of that be? Well, it's not 3 5/1. You have to make it improper first. Remember how we do 5 times 3 plus 1? So that's 15 plus 1, which is 16/5. That's what you use for the reciprocal. So what is the reciprocal of 16/5? 5/16. That is very important. Okay, when it comes to a mixed number, if you divide by the mixed number, you have to make it improper first and then flip it. All right? So let's do some examples. Like I said, you really already know how to do this. You're going to be asked to divide. And let's say, we'll just start with an easy one. 1/2 divided by 7/16. Now in your notes, make sure you have the original problem written down. Okay? And make sure that we show that we are going to rewrite this thing. What did I tell you? We are going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. So, what's the reciprocal of 7/16? 16/7. The 1/2 does not change. It stays as 1/2. And guess what? Now it is just a multiplication problem like we just spent the last 3 or 4 days doing. So don't we look to factor with the 2 and the 16? 2 will go into both of them. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8. I just have a 1 and a 7 here, so I can't factor anything. 1 times 8 is 8, and 1 times 7 is 7. Isn't that improper? Right? So don't I have 1 whole pi and 1 extra 7th? Right? 1 and 1/7. Let's do another one.
So that's all you do is flip the number.
You just flip the second fraction and multiply. You just have to pay attention to whether it's a mixed number or not. Okay? All right, you try this one now. 3/7 divided by 1/14. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, I think most of you did a good job. This is going to become 3/7 times 14 over 1. Now it's just a regular multiplication with fractions problem. So I look to factor. I can divide both of these by 7. That becomes a 1. This becomes a 2. I can't do anything with 3 and 1 since there's a 1 there. So I multiply 3 times 2, which is 6. And 1 times 1, which is 1. 6 over 1 is 6. Okay? Now, so like I said, it's very similar to what we've been doing, but there are a couple situations we need to talk about, like this one. 7/8 divided by 21. What if I'm dividing by a whole number? I told you that we multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. Well, let's do this slowly. This is the same thing as 7/8 divided by 21 over 1, isn't it? So what is the reciprocal of 21 over 1? 1 over 21. So this becomes 1 over 21, and it becomes 7/8 times 1 over 21. Everybody see how we deal with the whole number? Okay. And then from there on out, it's exactly the same as what we've been doing. I do my factoring, divide both of these by 7. It's 1. That's 3. I've got a 1 up here, so I can't do anything. 1 times 1 is 1. 8 times 3 is 24. 1/24 is your answer. It's not 24, it's 1/24. All right? Trying to get you ready for everything you'll see. How about 2.5 divided by 3/4? Part of the challenge with these problems is, not getting the problems mixed up. Which number am I going to flip? The 3/4. Can I go ahead and flip it? I can, because it's not a mixed number. So I know this is going to become 4/3, and it's going to become a multiplication problem. All right? But this 2.5, I can never multiply or divide by a mixed number, ever. So we have to make it improper. We need to do our flip. 2 times 2 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2, because that's my denominator. And now I'm ready to factor and do my multiplication. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I can't do anything with the 5 and the 3. All right, so since I can't do anything with the 5 and the 3, I multiply across. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 3 is 3. That is a very improper fraction. So I will do my division. 3 goes into 10 3 times with 1 left over. So that means I have 3 whole pies and 1 extra third. Okay, so you will have some improper fractions in your assignment. You need to know how to deal with them. Okay, we're getting close to being done here, but we must talk about the mixed number problems when the mixed number is the second number. Okay, do not make the mistake of thinking that I just flip the 1/3 and make this 8 and 3 over 1. That's wrong. Okay, don't do that. What we want to do first is make this improper. Let's do 3 times 8 plus 1. 24 plus 1 is 25/3. Let's rewrite the entire problem, the entire division problem. And I want you to do that in your steps, because if you don't, you'll make some mistakes. I've seen it before. So now what we have is 5/12 divided by 25 over 3. Once we've done that, now we are ready to flip the second fraction, make this 3 over 25. Okay, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. And now we are ready to do our multiplication and our factoring. Okay, so what's really important here is this step. Make it improper first, then multiply by the reciprocal. Now we're ready to do our division. So I can divide both of these, our factoring, divide both of these by 5. That becomes 1. That becomes 5. I can divide both of these by 3. That becomes 1. That becomes 4. And now we're ready to multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 5 is 20. 1/20. Okay, I'm going to give you one of these to try, and this will be our last example. I want you to try this problem. 8 divided by 2 4/5. I'll pause the video and you try it. Okay, we've got a couple things going on in this problem. First, I have a whole number that I need to put over 1. And then I have a mixed number, which I have to make improper. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14 over 5. And that is the division problem after we do that. And then I have to rewrite this. When we divide by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So this becomes 8 over 1 times 5 over 14. Now I can do my factoring. I can divide both of these by 2. So this becomes 4. This becomes 7. Multiply across. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 7 is 7. That is improper, so I need to divide 7 into 20. It goes twice with 6 left over, so it's 2 6/7. And we will stop there for today.